How can you preserve lemons so that you can use them again later? Today I'm going to show you how I preserve lemons in salt. G'day there, I'm Dana from Pewakaka Valley Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to preserve the lemons when they're nice and cheap. Preserve them in salt so that you can use them again later. I like to use my preserved lemons in lots and lots of dishes. It's really nice sliced. You just use the rind of it and it's really nice sliced thinly in yogurt sauce or in a salad, or you can add them to sort of tagines and that sort of thing. They're quite common in Moroccan cooking. I also add them to curries and stuff. They just add a really lemony flavour, and preserving them in salt takes away that bitterness. So they're a great way of keeping your lemons. I will salt them at about this time of year. It's early winter here and our lemons are finally coming down in price. So I usually buy a big bulk amount and I salt a bunch of them, and they'll last about a year salted, and I'll use them for that coming year. What you're going to need to salt lemons is lemons, obviously. These are just supermarket ones that I've given a wash with some warm water and detergent just to get the wax off the outside. A bowl full of salt. This is just normal old table salt, and a clean jar that has a lid that fits. Now to do this, you just need to cut through your lemons most of the way but not all of the way, and cut them into quarters so that they sort of flour out. Now into each of those you need to put close to a tablespoon or so of salt. And then once you've got all that salt in there, you pop it into your jar. And because this jar is a smaller one, usually I use my bigger square ones, but this year I'm just going to use the smaller one. You can actually cut your lemons in half just to make them fit in the little gaps as well. Just make sure that they're well covered in salt. No. You and your squeaky door. Just go. It's the salt that takes the bitterness out of the lemons, and it's also the salt that preserves them. As you can probably see there, I'm squashing them in quite firmly. You want to pack them in as tightly as you can. Now that they're getting nice and full in there, you can see when you push down it starts filling the thing up with the salt and the juice, which is a good thing. It's actually the salt that helps preserve it as well as the acid in the lemon, and it's the salt that takes the bitterness out of the skin. So once your jar is pretty much full, you want to add 1 extra tablespoon of salt, and then the juice of a lemon enough to pretty much top it up. I usually find that I don't quite have enough lemon juice to top it up. I can top it with just some filtered water, and as long as there's plenty of salt in there, the extra water doesn't affect it too much. Now, like all lacto fermenting, you want the actual fruit to be staying below the water surface. So if you have got a little weight, this is the time to put it in there. If you don't, that's okay. Usually they're pretty well wedged under the shoulder of the jar and they'll stay down anyway. I'm just going to chuck that extra salt in there. You just need to wipe the excess salt off the rim and things, because the salt will rust any metal lids that you've got. And I just loosely apply a lid, because this will actually start to ferment and make bubbles, and you want the lid to be loose enough that the air can escape. Otherwise your jar might explode. Now I'm just going to tighten it down so I can give it a wee bit of a mix. Now what I'm going to do with this jar is every day for a week I'm going to loosen the lid to make sure that any air can escape that needs to, and then I'm going to tighten the lid down and give it a shake, and then leave the lid just sitting just tight enough that it won't spill. And I don't put this anywhere fancy, I just leave it on my shelf in my kitchen. Then after about a week I swap to doing that every couple of days, and then I leave it to ferment for about 3 weeks, and by 3 weeks it's ready to use. To use preserved lemons, once they're ready to use, you just fish them out. I usually use a clean fork and pop them onto your chopping board, and then I usually scoop out the flesh. It comes away very easily once it's been fermented, and that usually goes to the chickens or into the compost. And then you're just using the rind. You get the rest of it is edible. You'll find the pips are usually still quite bitter, but you're usually just using the rind, and you slice it really thinly with a nice sharp knife, and you can put it into whatever recipe you need to use it for. They're also nice just to snack on. They are very salty. You can rinse the excess salt off, but be sure to not salt your food until later after you've added these, because often I'll find if I add salted lemon to a dish, I drastically need to reduce the amount of salt that I add at the end. I hope you found this video really useful. If you have, hit the like button, consider subscribing to our channel. We bring you videos twice a week on growing and preserving your own food. We'll see you in the next one.